All right, guys, I want you to imagine you have a passion, whatever that passion might be. Most people do something that you love doing, something that's a hobby, but you feel kind of defines who you are. Baseball, maybe you play on a local baseball team, collecting coins, riding motorcycles like my co host, the Badger, whatever it is. You have something that you're passionate about, something you love, and something you want to share with people because it's something you love. Now let's take motorcycles. Let's say you love riding motorcycles and you feel free when you're riding them and you have a little group of friends you go and ride around with. And over time, let's say that riding motorcycles gets a stigma on it. Not just bikers, but just anybody who rides any motorcycle for any reason. And let's say you have a tight group of friends and family, a good network, support system, and over time, people who used to think of you as, hey, you're Dwayne, you're our friend Dwayne, you're my cousin Dwayne, they start asking you, hey, I've been seeing a lot of negative shit in the news lately about motorcycles. Why are you riding motorcycles, man? I heard riding motorcycles is evil. And you're like, no, I don't know where this is coming from. I've been riding motorcycles for years. It's not evil. It's just me and my friends driving around, enjoying our open road. And they're like, yeah, okay, well, I heard it was evil. And then 3, 4 months go by, and it's like, hey, man, I can't fucking believe you're still riding motorcycles. What gives? I mean, it's evil. And then after about a year, you stop getting invited to Thanksgiving dinner. Your friends start deleting you. People start writing you. And they start going, what the fuck, man? You're still riding motorcycles? Riding motorcycles is evil. No, it's not. Fuck you, motor rider. Motor rider, fuck you. And you start losing friends and getting hate mail and having people who once cared about you ending friendships and not inviting you to birthday parties or out to cookouts or whatever. And then you're hearing people talk shit behind your back what a scumbag you are for riding motorcycles. Now, you might keep riding motorcycles in rebellion, like, hey man, this is my life. If I want to ride motorcycles, I can ride motorcycles. But your love for it will slowly start to die. I guarantee your passion for something as taking so much from you will start to die. And over the time, people think of you as, hey, in the case of Dwayne, hey, you're Dwayne. Well, you're Dwayne who does that weird thing and rides motorcycles. Hey, you're motorcycling Dwayne. Hey, you're that motherfucking motorcycle guy. And they'll stop thinking of you as a person and they'll start thinking of you as a label. Like the label libtard. I used to be friends with people. People used to think of me as Nick Katsouris. Hey, that's Nick Katsouris. That's my buddy Nick. I love Nick. Me and Nick's been through a lot. We grew up together. It's Nick. And now, a lot of those people who lean a lot more farther right think of me as the libtard, the evil host of ignorance equation with his minions of sheep. They don't think of me as a person anymore. They think of me as a label. And it's a lot easier to discard me because now I'm just a label. I'm not a person or a human anymore in their eyes. I'm this horrible thing. Why? Because for the last 5 years, I have been waxing political, first on the Ignorance Equation blog, and then 3.5 years ago, we turned it into a radio show. And I started posting a lot more intensely on Facebook about politics 4 or 5 years ago. And it has cost me a lot. And the problem that I'm having is I'm losing my passion for it. Just like if you collected coins and you were a scumbag for it, or if you rode motorcycles or collected comic books or was into NASCAR, or whatever the case may be, or maybe with this NFL thing, maybe football in 5 years, you'll be considered a scumbag for watching football because of what's going down with people sitting during the national anthem. Whatever the case may be, you will lose passion for it because it will cost you so much to chase that passion, to facilitate that passion, to act out that passion. Now, you might still do it, but your love for it will not be there like it once was. This past week, a buddy a couple weeks of mine, Dave, passed away. And, I said, let's do a memorial show for him on musical osmosis. Because I am just more than one thing, and that's another thing, right? I'm no longer seen as just, I'm only seen as just political. You're a political animal. That's the only side of you. That's your only facet. And nobody sees, well, not nobody. The people who no longer want anything to do with me don't see that I'm a family man, I'm a father, I'm a friend. I'm into music, I have musical osmosis, I'm into comedy and acting. I've got kettle of fish. We play trivia on Fridays. I'm more than this ignorance equation thing. But people have tagged me with that label, and that's all they see me as. So over the last few days, I started putting up pictures of Dave just so I can get him together for our Musical Osmosis archive page. And we did the show last Wednesday, and I was like, okay, well, last week I was like, let me start putting up some pictures of Dave, and let me get some of these old videos. I've got a box of VHSs from the '90s of all the bands playing, and I've got a converter. And I knew it was going to be a pain in the ass, but I'm like, hey, this gives me a good excuse. I'm going to take a few days off of Ignorance Equation. That's why there was no episode yesterday. And let me go ahead and let me convert all of these VHSs over to DVD, then upload them to the computer, then get them on to Facebook, and then I can put one of them up on the Dave page and put them on YouTube for everyone to enjoy. And as I'm putting up these pictures, and first I started putting up Dave pictures because I was scanning in my photo albums, and then I was like, you know what? I bet you the friends that are still around, they would love to see old pictures of us. I know they don't have a lot of them. I felt like it was something everybody needed. I was already scanning in pictures anyway, so for 10 hours straight, I just fucking sat there, scanning pictures, posting them on Facebook. Everybody's loving them. Getting all this positive feedback. I'm getting texts. We love you, Nick. Thank you so much for doing this. I'm getting inbox messages. Hey, man, I just want to thank you for doing this. This is really awesome. People are posting on my page. This is great, man. Thank you for taking the time out. Then I put the videos up. Hey, this is really cool what you're doing for Dave. And I got positive feedback for like 3 days straight. I was getting all this wonderful, man, Nick, we love you. And I felt like people were starting to see me as a human being again. And not just as this political entity that's pulling the strings and I have all my lemmings and I'm a fucking cult leader like Paco said, who's no longer my friend, who used to be in my band. And it felt really good, man. It felt really positive. The energy felt really positive. And it felt good to be seen as a person again and not just as this one thing. So, of course, those days passed. I had to get back to the work of doing work. And a couple of my friends were putting this petition type thing around saying, I heard the Seattle Seahawks aren't going to stand for the pledge. I'm protesting the protesters protesting by not tuning into this football game. And I don't give a shit about football. I don't watch football. But this idea of me of protesting people who protest, like protesting protesters protesting, like just this idea seems silly to me. So here I am. I'm 10 minutes back on posting political stuff. I've already done all the Dave stuff. I've got the archive up. I'm like, all right, I've had a few days. Maybe I've recharged. I could start posting my opinion again about stuff. And here's what I posted, just kind of joking around. I said, I don't know about you, but I'll be protesting all the protesters who are protesting protesters by genuflecting during every football game that's on TV today. That'll show them. And then afterwards I posted this. I thought it was cute. I like to protest against child abuse by refusing to sit during Duck Duck Goose. Remember, those who will sit for anything, or those who will sit for nothing will stand for anything. And I just thought these were kind of goofy little things, funny. Well, of course, after 3 days of being patted on the back and told, hey, you're a human being again in our eyes, a close friend of mine of 30 years deleted me. And it was one of the friends I was putting a petition up. So I know she saw it, got pissed off, and unfriended me. Now, yeah, I was kind of taking a jab at him. I was making a little bit of fun because I thought it was silly that, hey, I'm against protesting so much, I'm going to protest people who protest. But to end a friendship of 30 years over that, and I'm like, geez, man, I've been back 15 minutes, 20 minutes I've been back, and already like I'm pissing people off. And this isn't even like heavy political commentary. This is just me taking like a little jab at this idea of protesting protesters. So then I wrote this, and this kind of sums up how silly this all is. So one of my friends who was protesting a protest of protesters has protested against my protest of protesters who protest protesters by deleting me. Should I protest this silent protest by protesting people who delete me for protesting protesters who protest, or just call it a day and make a tuna fish sandwich? Once again, I thought that was humorous, but when you look at it, After 3 days of getting all this positive feedback of seeing being like us being seen as a human being again, and then all of a sudden there goes another friend deleting me, somebody I'll probably never talk to again. And I mean, this is someone I spent a week at their house, not this year, but last summer. And this is someone whose husband I'm really, really good friends with since high school. Poof, gone, over, just because of that. It just makes me sad. And then I think, well, what's going to happen? This next post I put, which friend's going to go away? I was, you know, there was four of us and even Steven, and only one of them's left on my friends list. One of them hates my guts, and the other one has deleted me, kind of like the protest saying. They didn't like Dwayne. They thought Dwayne was racist. They were like, well, if you're friends with Dwayne, I can't be friends with people who are friends with people I think are racist. And they deleted me, and I was like, okay, so I'm not friends with people who aren't friends with people who are friends with people who they think are racist. Like, how fucking far does this go? How ridiculous down this rabbit hole do we go? Like, hey, if you're not gonna delete Bobby because he deleted me, I delete friends who don't delete friends who delete friends who are friends with people they think are racist. The Facebook in a lot of ways I feel like has really kind of brought about the death. See, it's early. This is why these are authentic. The death of friendships, and when we could do a whole other episode on that. I like to keep these under 12 minutes, but this is the situation that we're in, and this is why maybe my friends don't understand. I do this knowing that there's going to be a cost. I know I do this knowing that I'm going to lose people in my life that I care about. I do this. Now, my job's really cool. I don't have much fear of something I post getting me fired. In fact, um, my bosses have pretty much said categorically, unless it's something really outrageous against the company, somebody's not going to get fired for a disagreement on Facebook. So I don't have that anchor around my neck to worry about. But I do, I don't really talk to a lot of my family members anymore because of my politics. And I have lost a lot of friends. And the takeaway is and people always say, it's true, there's never a rebellion, there's never an uprising historically when things are at their worst. It's always when things get a little bit better. And people go, oh, holy shit, this is what it could be like? Well, fuck this. I'm going to burn this other thing to the ground. And it happened with me, right? Me and my first wife were having a lot of problems. I said, let me give you some space. I'm going to take our daughter and go to my best friend's house out of town for a few days. I thought this would be a good time for her to reflect and feel like, okay, I'm not under all this stress, and it would help us repair things. And when I got back, she's like, I want a divorce. Now I know what it's like not having you around. And things got a little bit better, so now I want a divorce. And that's where I'm at with the ignorance equation. For 3 days, I felt like what it was like to be a normal fucking human being. To just be a guy who has friends on Facebook and posts a picture and people are like, that's a cool picture. Or, hey, Vivian, my daughter, did this cool thing today. Wow, congratulations, she made cheer. Like for 3 days after years, of hate and division and attacks on me, after 3 years of that, 4 years of that, I finally knew what it was like for a few days for me just to feel like a regular guy again, just to feel like Nick, everybody's friend. This guy who has cool things to say that aren't related to politics. And now it makes it even harder to go back in the ignorance equation. But I am a humble, diligent man of the people. So I will keep pushing forward. Ignorance equation will be back this Sunday. We will be talking about the alt-right. Just know if I don't seem like I have as much zest as I once did, I'm trying to get back there. I'm trying to find a balance between everything that I lose and everything that I know I'm still going to lose for doing my political thing, because it is something I'm passionate about. And I think it's something we should all be passionate about and be aware. And having a normal everyday life. I've got to go to a wedding next month, and I don't know who I'm going to see there. And I don't know how to even approach anybody who has deleted me or who's cussed me out for my politics and called me libtard or communist or whatever. I don't know. It reminds me, I was just watching the movie Trudeau with Bryan Cranston. And in the beginning of the movie, he has like 20 really close friends. And by the end of the movie, there's 2 or 3 left. And some of them, and it's a movie about the 50s and McCarthyism. And Trudeau is this film writer who belongs to the Communist Party. He's a self-identified communist. And some of his friends are like, "You're a commie, fuck you," and leave. And some of them are like, "Dude, I still love you. I'm still your friend, but you're just too radioactive to be around. Like, I don't want someone throwing a brick through my window just because I know you. And I don't want somebody, like, I don't want the FBI, Hoover, like J. Edgar Hoover, like investigating me just because I'm associated with you." And in the end of his life, like a lot of those people left his life just because of his politics. And I don't want to end up like that. I don't want to end up like some. Now, of course, he kind of got redeemed because he got a Lifetime Achievement Award like 6 months before he died or whatever. But, I don't want to live in exile for 20 or 30 years just because I have a political opinion, especially one that I don't feel is like super outrageous. I feel like I'm kind of down the middle on a lot of things. But for some reason, a lot of people see a lot of disdain in my snarkiness or the way that I kind of joke about it and make light of it. Maybe I should be more serious. Maybe I should be like, "If you're a Trump supporter, you suck and you should die." And then somebody could grab a hold of that and maybe be like, "Well, then you suck," but have it out and not delete me. I don't know. I don't know what the formula is. Obviously, I'm doing it wrong if I'm losing this many friends over it, but I don't know how to not do it because this is what I am. I mean, this is what I am. This isn't what I do. It's like the old cop films. It's what I am, damn it. I'm a cop. This isn't just a job. Like maybe it's like that. So it's not something I could just pick up and stop doing, or I'll just be pacing the floors again like before Ignorance Equation. All right, guys, we've got to the 16-minute mark. I hope everyone checks out the show. We had a really great show with Rebecca Kennedy yesterday. And of course, our Dave Tribute show is up for Dave Knight. Go on tincan.media. Check out all the cool stuff we have. I'll be putting these videos up as much as possible. I'll be writing a little bit more. I know Fern's going to be doing some writing. We got a lot of good stuff. Tell your friends. We're trying to build something really positive outside of the politics. We have like 9 other networks on there. We're trying to, podcasts. We're trying to build something really positive. Thanks to all my supporters. Thanks to everybody who showed me love and support over the last 3 days. It kind of fucked me up on one hand, but it also really reminded me of who my friends are and how awesome life can be. Alrighty, guys, until next time, this is Morning Rants from My Bathrobe. Thank you.